Fellow heroes and Force users of all ages, hello there, and welcome back to Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Daniel Dawson, and I'm joined by my dear friends and fellow nerf herders, Alyssa Simmons.
Hi.
And Dino Nicandros.
Hello.
Today we are discussing the Disney Plus Star Wars show, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm sorry, wait, whoops. That was a typo. The show is called The Book of Boba Fett. This is episodes 3 and 4, and by God, it's Morphin time. I mean, we're Star Wars fans.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
Well, I guess you just got right out there with the Power Rangers info. Thought we were maybe gonna slide our way into that.
I know.
Sucker,
Let's not beat around the bush here. Let's just get right into it.
Let's not beat around the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Boba Fett. That was like a weird, like, gay scene with
Yeah.
with a lubed up Boba and
Well,
and Black Kranzistan or whatever the hell his name
Chrysanthemum.
is.
Black Kazakhstan.
It was great, though. You know,
I mean, he's naked, he's lubed, he's getting tossed around by a big old bear.
He was. It's true. I guess
Getting choked out.
Yeah, he was. He was. It's a different kind of
boy.
show now.
Woo.
I mean, so like overall, why don't we discuss like our overall feelings of episodes 3 and 4? And I know, like, for me at least, my feelings for either episode were very different, like
They're very
Correct.
vastly
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Well, we watched episode 3 together, which was
That's
Yes,
fun.
we did.
We went to the comic shop. We got
We
Boba.
We did.
didn't-
We got Boba for Boba.
We got Boba and watched Boba Fett, but we didn't realize how clever that was while we were doing that.
The boba did prove to be problematic on my gastrointestinal
Oh
tract.
no! I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
no.
Those little
Wait, did you
sugar
have
balls didn't do it for you. Did
Actually,
you get?
I didn't have full blown
You didn't
boba.
get boba.
It was
You just got a milkshake.
like
Oh,
like the-
that's your problem.
I think it was called like the tropical storm or something.
Yeah, and it
so-
was.
Tropical
It was
And
a
it
tropical
was.
storm.
And it was.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. So what? How did? Oh, that actual shake that the 32-ounce shake that we had that night. How did that go with you?
Well, that wasn't good either.
You had to really think about it. Wait, what?
But, well, I was trying to remember what you were talking about, and then I remembered Daniel and I went and got giant milkshakes.
Literally 32 ounces. Of
Yeah,
Where'd
I
you
hadn't
go?
had one of.
You've been to the Harbor House Cafe before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of the
Yeah.
best
Yeah,
shakes.
they're excellent, but
good.
destructive.
If
Power
you're
to
having
destroy
any
an
trouble going to
entire
the bathroom,
planet.
like at all, brilliant way to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Also, like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I remember when I was, in my 20s and just could eat whatever,
Anything, yeah.
whenever. Like, it was
Yeah.
not an issue to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go eat, like, $20 worth of Taco Bell at, like, midnight or something.
Right.
If I did that now,
was worth that day.
I would be, like, out for the day. My body
Right.
would be like, nope.
total
Right.
devastation.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well,
This has been a podcast about
gonna
feces.
say, this
Thank you for
is-
joining us.
we got
It
gay
usually
stuff.
is.
We got poop stuff. Welcome.
But yes, generally-
so episode 3, I'm just going to say overall episode 3, I felt really weird. I did not know why or what.
Oh, but we'll get into it.
And episode 4, loved it. Had a great
Yeah.
time. Was our a couple episodes when we talked about episodes 1 and 2, we talked about how, Fennec was just kind of like chilling there,
Right.
and it was really nice to get the backstory of how they met.
Yeah.
And so that's my overall. What were your twos overalls?
Twos. I pretty much the same. I think like episode 3. I mean, that being said, there was a lot of interesting world building and derpa-deepa-bapa-doopa-doop, but like, I think if we're just talking overall, episode 3 kind of made me go, like I immediately, not immediately, but like anytime that my mind goes to imagining the right, like the producers table where they're just like talking about like spin like what other spin-off shows could we do, and like and what kind of other toys can we sell? Like immediately when your mind goes to there, you know that something has gone.
The storytelling is not necessarily the priority in that moment.
not doing its job.
Yeah.
Episode 4, again, completely different feeling.
What gave you that sense in episode 3 that was happening?
I really, honestly, it was the design of the mods, as they call themselves.
Yeah, the mods. Just the
so
mods in general.
And then their speeder bikes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and honestly,
which
has
set the internet ablaze.
Yeah, and really, truthfully, it's not the idea of the mods themselves, because there's gangs in Star Wars. Obviously, there's
sure, and we're dealing with like a mob boss here, so
and the idea of like modding oneself in the Star Wars universe, totally a thing. Like, I mean, Darth Vader is one of them, like, has modded himself so that he can, well, obviously that's more for necessity, but, like, there are definitely people within the Star Wars universe that have modded themselves just to, like, enhance their, mechanics or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So that's not a new thing. What was new was the overall, like, vibe and look, and, like, they went for, and quite literally based their gang off of the like literal gang called the Mods, I think, from the UK. Like, if I remember, so like obviously very true to what that was, but like for whatever reason just didn't. It was just the design felt like it was sort of shoved into the Star Wars and not like and
like
also
the
like
steampunk element of it.
Steampunk, yeah. If you've ever played the game Cyberpunk, it felt very much like that. Like, you could have fit that into that game, but not into Star Wars.
And I was thinking about it the other day before I watched episode 4.
Yeah.
If I would have seen this show when I was like 10...
Yes.
I might be like, oh, those guys are cool, and I probably would have wanted those speeder bike toys.
Okay.
I honestly probably would have.
You're definitely not wrong, because I had to like separate myself from like there are like and find like the good in it, because like truthfully like they're like they do have a cool vibe, and like their mods are also cool. Like, ooh, that guy's got like cool specs, where he can like zoom in on people, and the other guy's got a little thing that he can burn things with his feet. I don't know. Like, there are cool things about it. It's just that the overall aesthetic of it felt like it didn't fit.
Yeah. Here's a question for the two of you. If these episodes had been swapped, would you have felt differently about the mods, given that we got that like mod parlor scene with Fennec and all that stuff?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, if they had introduced them that way and then we got a little bit of a build-up, yeah, maybe a little bit. But I think I still would have felt a little, because even then, like, they felt like it's like this was like inspired by Cyberpunk and not by Star Wars.
Yes.
And it's not that like, and that's the thing too, is it, and I think that we all should like, not be gatekeepers or whatever, and like say the entire Star Wars universe has to be
only
exactly the same.
Yeah, one style, one sort of thing, because we know that's not real.
You should always introduce new things into, because otherwise it's not interesting. But I think that there still needs to be some common thread that because I think that the way that they've done that with with these shows, like with Mando and everything, is that like they could have very easily updated all of the graphics and the technology, but we still have like this very analog thing where you're like, you have to click buttons to make things happen. You have to you don't just say like computer do like and ask Siri to do something. I don't know, like it's still but yeah, this felt I mean the actual like tech that they're using, like especially like for Fennec with like all the pumps and like doodads and stuff, that felt like correct, I guess. But
and what was interesting is that if you look really close, there's several good Easter eggs in that mod parlor, and
definitely.
Their leader in particular, played by the musician Thundercat,
which is so great. I actually
I believe did the music for that section as well.
Yeah, it sounded really cool. And it felt, I don't know what it was, but that didn't feel that weird to me.
Well, and he has a battle droid hand.
Yes.
Yes.
taken
Well,
from
see,
a
and that's
B2
the
battle
thing.
droid. So like little pieces like
Things
that.
like that
okay,
that sort of
yeah.
still connect us back
Right.
to, okay, this is still, you know.
And not so much Blade Runner or, you know.
Yeah. And maybe, you know what? And honestly, it could be just as simple as their speeder bikes being like all like they're like very shiny.
Very
and,
shiny.
Like literally looks like a car from the 50s. Like, I mean, I think that was the.
Well,
yeah.
we talked about American Graffiti maybe being the impetus for this scene, and I
For
understand
sure.
that, and I enjoy the parallel, but as we've
Yeah.
all illustrated, it
Just felt weird.
felt a little out of place.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And particularly how they were utilized. I don't know what it was about that chase. It looked like they were moving really slow.
Yes, I think
Like,
you're
Like
right.
everything looks like it was moving in slow motion, kind of.
Right. And I'm not
I don't know.
because I think there was definitely like CGI effects, but there was also some like like real effects as well, which it's kind of it's hilarious. But and it's weird because I was gonna bring it up later, but there was I don't know if you guys heard about it or saw it, but there was a mistake in that scene where they were getting like an above shot like of one of the mods driving down the street.
Mhm.
And unfortunately the camera angle caught like the backside of the set where like it's just
Oh.
like
Oh,
I didn't see
wood
that.
holding it up,
I didn't see
Whoops.
that.
and I was just like, oh, that's unfortunate. Like, I
Like
mean, of
Blazing
course,
Saddles.
there's always mistakes. I mean, it's basically like the Gene guy from Mando.
yeah.
yeah, right.
But oddly
The
enough,
Gene guy, I totally forgot about him.
remember Gene guy? But the odd thing about it though is that it's been like very much like put that out. It's out there on the internet that everybody knows about it. But they haven't corrected it yet. It's still there. I just checked before we recorded it, and apparently it's still there. But yeah, so there's I mean, yes, my point in saying that is that it was like obvious that it wasn't completely CGI. They were using like probably a little bit of both.
Totally. It just I don't even know how to explain it. It just felt very slow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
For a
I think
chase.
that I hope they probably will show behind the scenes of that, but I think that it'll make a lot more sense when we see how they did it, because something tells me that they recorded them like actually driving like a motorcycle with wheels, and then they had to like digitally take them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And in order to do those stunts, it had to be like a certain speed, or I don't know. I'm not a scientist. What do I
It is
look
weird
like?
though that you feel like those kind of things, and we're so used to action films and TV shows now that
Sure.
it's like we can tell if it's like not been sped up to the speed that it maybe should have been sped up to.
Maybe, yeah. It's a bummer that like that we're all that analytical now, but like that's just the nature of the beast these days, I guess. But
It is, and the internet was ablaze over the color of those bikes. And
Yeah,
it really offended some people. So
it didn't necessarily offend me,
I
but
didn't
like
feel offended. No.
it just made my mind go to the producer's room, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this group of people,
we're gonna
and
sell
then,
these toys. Yeah,
yeah, and each of them are gonna have their really distinct thing, and yeah.
but look, you could have said that and it's not a one-for-one comparison, but when they had the pod racers and Phantom Menace,
Sure.
I bought or I didn't buy them. My parents bought them for me. The pod racer.
But that's
Shit,
a
I mean-
wonderful comparison, because we can discuss why my mind went like, yeah, pod racers, that all makes sense, because everything about it, especially since it's on Tatooine, it all looked like they were like parts that they pulled from different spaceships.
yeah,
you
it
know what I mean?
still felt like the same place.
Yeah, they were like dusty and like
And that's true. And
used.
they and especially in recent years, they've repurposed podcast.
They've repurposed a lot of different podcasts.
They've repurposed a lot of pod racer parts in different sets that we've seen. Like,
Yeah.
right.
I think it was in Rise of Skywalker where they're roasting
Skywalker.
something under a pod racer engine, like they do in Galaxy's Edge. Like little touches like that, you see them fairly often. I don't know if we'll see these bikes again, and we've never seen anything like them. I mean, we've
Yeah,
seen swoop
right, yeah.
bikes,
Yeah.
But
It was wild.
these looks
I
like
mean,
motorcycles.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe we will see him again.
We
Maybe
spent
they'll have
the first
their own
15
show.
minutes talking about them.
We
I know.
did. We gave them a lot of time.
We would be remiss if we didn't speak
We're
about. I mean,
we're
I think
doing
that-
Lucasfilm's job for them.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're welcome. But I don't know. It's probably not the last that we'll talk about them. But I'm glad that we did, and we can just take that off of our backs and just let it go.
We can move forward now.
Just move forward.
Talk about the rest of the show.
So focusing
So
in
about
on
the
Boba,
Morphin Power Rangers. No.
right? Focusing in on Boba a little bit.
Yes.
Something
You mean
of
the show or
note-
the person?
the person.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that flashback scene again in episode 3. That's that quick shot of little Boba, Daniel Logan, watching his dad take off and leave. And that's the second time we've
Yes.
seen that.
Right. Or
And
is it?
it
It might even be the third. No.
might be the third.
Yeah.
They might have shown it twice in one episode. I don't remember. But now that we're starting to piece together, we've all had the question of how do the past and the present, how are they
Meet
going
up.
to be relevant
Uh huh.
to the same story they're telling here?
I 100% agree, and I kind of had said it before. Like my sort of prediction was that like the arc of Boba's character through this show is going to be like him sort of. I mean, well, he is sort of dealing with, because he's even said it too. I think in episode 4, where he was just like talking to Fennec about being a bounty hunter, and he's just like, I left that behind. I'm turning a new leaf or whatever, and she's just like, oh well, we don't. People like us can't really leave those
Walk
things
away,
behind,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be struggling, trying to, he's dealing with his past, like trying to get past his past. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think you know what I mean. Like his sort of like taking on a new identity. That's not there. Just finding who he is in this new Star Wars world.
Well, it is, and I mean, he, especially these last 2 episodes, he's really hammered home the point that he is not a bounty hunter anymore.
Right.
And especially in episode 4, he says it a couple times where he said, "We are far smarter than the people we've been hired to work for."
Yeah.
And I'm tired of risking life and limb for stupid people.
Yes, right.
I mean, that's a paraphrase, but he pretty much says that.
Yeah, totally.
Which is super interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder. I've only had this thought occur a couple of times, but it's particularly the more gentle side of Boba. We've now seen 2 episodes, 3 and 4, that have really shown him as kind of a man of nature. And
yeah, with him.
one with
Such
the
a little
animals.
animal lover. So sweet with
And
the
while I
banda.
love
Sweet.
I do love unpacking that because I think it also kind of draws, again, not a one-for-one comparison, but it draws from his Maori heritage of
Sure.
a love and care for the natural world,
Yep.
particularly the part of the world the Maori come from.
It's interesting though too, because I am curious to hear what you think about this, because there are like at least some people out there that think that this is kind of like a retcon of his character in a sense.
Well,
where-
that's kind of what I'm getting to. Like,
Yeah.
not a. I wouldn't even use
I personally
retcon,
don't
but
think
it's
that,
retcon's not the word I'd use. It's a little jarring because
sure.
for someone who has said very little in this entire series, and
Right.
we've attached a certain menace with the fact that he's a man of very few words, to
We've
now
all
see him,
assumed so much.
which is on us
Yeah.
because that's all we could do.
Yeah. This
But
is again
also-
a classic expectation.
I'm still finding myself adjusting to the idea that he's this.
Expectation management. That was what I was going to
Yeah.
go for.
I'm still adjusting to the fact he's so emotionally vulnerable and
Right.
that he does have a reverence for the natural world, which I mean, sure, I buy it. It's just
Yeah. I think
it
that there
still hasn't sunk in all the way yet that
Well, it seems
this is
that
the same guy.
I
Right.
feel like that is this show's like kind of central thing, that it's trying to tell this story of how he got from A to B, how he got from being this bounty hunter, like, and like this I mean, also this like troubled child, you know, that, you know, you see his clear like success, this childhood that was like wrought with like trauma, and then turning into this like lethal bounty hunter, and then finding sort of this new and understanding that. I think that really the turning point for him, I guess, at least according to this show, was his attachment to the Raiders, you know. So I think that which is we've seen this theme in Star Wars before, you know, with the Jedi. You know, that's why the Jedi are like, you're not allowed to love, you're not allowed to have attachments, because it leads to bad things. So it'll be interesting, because, you know, like for him, his thing that the Jedi would have been like, that's a no, was him when he like took like he didn't just like go and get revenge on the people that killed his like Tusken family. Tusken? No, not. What am I thinking?
Yeah,
they're Tusken.
Oh, they're Tuskens,
Raiders.
yes.
The Tusken Raiders. Yeah.
That like he went and just like obliterated them with his ship. You know? Like there's one way to do it, and then there's that way.
We'll get to that moment in a bit, because I was very happy.
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, I mean, this is not first, but
that was servicing
like,
fandom. That's
we're checking off a lot of things on the list, which is just great. Like, and that was definitely one of them. Him like returning to the Sarlacc pit and blowing it up with his freaking sonic blast thing. I mean, so
Which
cool.
technically Fennec did, not him.
Technically, you're right. You're absolutely right. But I mean, like he was getting there. He was getting there.
Don't touch my buttons.
Don't touch my buttons. Yeah.
Best line of the movie or show so far. Don't touch my buttons.
But yeah, we'll talk about those two in a second. But But Daniel, you've weighed in. Alyssa, do you have you felt that disconnect, or is it even a disconnect for you?
It doesn't feel like that to me too much, honestly, because I think that a big reason that they did put the Tusken tribe, you know, into this forefront of the you know, first couple episodes, I think that experience really changed him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In ways that, you know, if we would have had a 8-hour version of that part of the storytelling, we would have seen even more, you know, like a slower growth and change there.
There was definitely a passage of time, for sure.
Yes, for sure. So for me, it doesn't feel like that.
How long do we think he was actually with them?
I don't know, like maybe years.
Well,
potentially.
So let's track it. I mean, it would be when he first encounters them is days, weeks after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So, I mean, freshly out of the pit, the Jawas steal his stuff, and then he gets taken by them. So, yeah, months, but then...
At least months.
But by the time we get to where we are in at least the first half of Episode 4, it would have had to have been 5 years. Yeah.
Right.
We're at Mandalorian by then.
It could have easily been a couple years that he spent with these people. So
like,
so
for
me, it made it look like it was only a couple weeks.
It was like a short period of time.
Yeah.
So for me, like, you know, being around this tribe of creature who, you know, just completely took him in, cared for him. There were some rocky moments, obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like that was very informative of, you know, how he is sort of growing or changing, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just that he's like ripping off lots of Band-Aids and stuff from past stuff.
Yeah, that's where my heart went too.
And with the animal thing, I really liked it, honestly, because I think that well, I'm like a true crime junkie. So for me, my first thing is like, for me, my first thing is like, you know, sociopaths and serial killers, like,
thank you.
Usually when they're little kids, they kill animals.
Right. Yes.
or they're really awful to animals.
Right.
And
That's like
so-
the first sign.
Yeah, so I feel like this is a very intentional thing to be like, yes, Boba is complicated. He still is going to kill people who
Right.
harm him.
Mhm.
But
But
he's
like
not like
ultimately at the heart of who he is, like he's
not a
yeah,
crazy
he's not
sociopath.
he's not a
No.
sociopath.
And
Right,
we have
he's-
talked about it before.
He's
on
not
a
a serial killer.
on a
Yes.
previous episode, he's definitely a man doing jobs, and his job
Right.
just
Yes.
happens to be sometimes killing people, but it's
Yeah,
not.
so I think that for me that jobs
a job. It's
So-
a job.
so for me the animal stuff didn't feel out of left field. It felt just sort of like, okay, yeah. There's just like
Yeah.
this extra little sprinkle of like, just so you know, he's not a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, I like that we're making him. We're because really I don't know. Like if he wasn't complicated, like
Well,
then why
that
make a
goes to
show
the- there's
about
no-
him?
There's no point at that
Yeah.
point.
There's
Yeah.
literally no point to make a show about him, right? I mean, it's like other than to do the nerd checklist.
Sure.
Other than that, then there's literally no point to do a show about him. And you could easily have done that, like as like an attachment to the Mando show. Just show like little vignettes of Boba getting his way and going, and and that would have been fine. But like we're showing they're creating a complex, interesting character. So
Well, and I appreciate that, and I've
Yeah.
said previously, like the Tusken stuff is some of the most fascinating Star Wars
Yeah.
to date. I don't know. I'm not even sure I can illustrate
how much I
why it was the animals in particular and him becoming. You said it, Alyssa. It's because we don't have a window into how long he was with them, so we didn't.
Yeah.
Perhaps it just
Assumedly,
lacked.
he learned his from watching how the Tuskens treated the banthas. I'm probably.
Yeah, and just maybe not having that sense of time period is
Yeah.
maybe why I'm like, wow, this is
It's a little bit of a
this is
jump.
very
Yeah.
jarring.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that for sure.
I understand. You're wrong,
but-
but I understand.
Well, well, we'll see.
We will.
But
see,
episode
though. You're right.
4, though, like it has done the best job thus far of taking new Boba, or
Yes.
rather, what we now the things we have since learned about Boba,
Mhm.
and combining it with the Boba Fett we were all waiting to see, which was the
Right.
vengeful, scary
Yikes.
hunter of those who have wronged him.
Uh huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
which
you
is
were talking
very
about it,
exciting and fun.
The scene of taking his fire spray gunship and hunting them like animals was terrific. I
Just
love
great.
the sound design on that ship. I always have.
Pew, 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 pew.
It's cool. It just
Just-
looks cool too.
And the shot, the shot where you see all the speeder bikes, and then in the distance, you have it slowly creeping up on them from behind. and
Yeah.
just
I was like, oh
devastation.
no.
It was
they're
very
like-
Mad Max. It looked,
Yeah, it was.
felt like Mad Max.
Yeah. With their
Um,
leather jackets. So funny.
And then the whole
Um,
Sarlacc sequence could have been something out of an amusement park ride,
It
Oh,
felt like a
totally.
ride, yeah.
It did, yeah.
especially like when
100%.
Fennec unbuckles herself and she falls onto like the windshield,
Uh-huh.
and then the snout comes up and tries to.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just nerdgasm.
It was so wonderful. I leaned forward and was smiling from ear to ear on that.
Yes.
It was just great. Just great.
Yes.
Also, it was
terrific.
exciting. Obviously, we're getting some Fennec and Boba backstory, but
Fennec and Boba.
to hear more Mando themes in the music.
Yes.
coming on
Episode
through.
4, we got the Mando theme. So like it's
Got it twice.
twice. Yeah. So we're obviously I was gonna say too, like we're they're threading the needle now. Like very, very obviously, between Boba and Mando. I mean, now I'm curious about what you guys think, because it sounds like, one of two things could happen. It's just like they're just showing, you know, how they got from A to B, how they got to like the end of the last season of Mando, but also are we sort of foreshadowing a like the Mando actually entering into this show?
Well, look, the first time they play it, obviously, is when Boba's out in the desert, and that's when he first stumbles on Fennec, which was
Here's
episode 5 of
season here's explosions
season
in the,
1.
mhm.
Right. The
The flare.
flashbangs that she was using they
Yeah.
were using to blind her as they were driving in on her.
Oh, it was such a cool episode. I forgot about it.
So the music
Yeah.
made sense there because it actually involved Mando. At the end of episode 4, when Boba's waxing about a tribe and knowing
Right.
where to hire people, and
And you
and
can find the
who to
right kind of
hire.
people if you have
Right.
credits.
and then
Uh-huh.
and then you play that very distinct pan flute, and
Ooh.
so that could very well be Din Djarin,
Yeah.
Mando,
Mm-hmm.
and let's talk about that for a second. It would make sense
It would
because
be weird at this point if he wasn't on the show, in my opinion.
well, I'm not sure I was expecting it, but it would make
Yeah.
sense from the standpoint of Boba did him a solid.
Uh-huh.
This is his return favor.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Oh,
So
right.
totally.
Yeah.
Now, is that pan flute theme simply for Mando, or is that also a theme for Mandalorians at large?
Could be.
And could he
Interesting.
be calling someone like Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan.
Maybe.
Well, she's getting her own show. Did y'all hear about that?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, she's getting her own show.
How fun.
Yeah.
But
That is
they
fun.
were they kind of started to strike up an interesting, albeit
Mhm,
contentious
mhm.
dynamic. But
Yeah.
they now have built-in relationship.
So I know it does kind of sound like, you know, all of these shows are going to be building up to like one cathartic moment where there's like a big team up, like Avengers style
Yes.
Star Wars moment.
Which is sort of
Um,
where Mando season 2 left us off to believe, right? That we
Yeah.
were going into this like
Well,
Eric-
how many breadcrumbs did they drop about Thrawn? About
Oh my God.
yes.
about
many
taking
things.
back Mandalore? About
Mhm.
and then sprinkling in Boba and then
With this show, I feel that there could be numerous team ups potentially because at least with this show, the overarching baddie, I guess, for lack of a better term, isn't the what do you call it? Oh God, it's not the Empire, like the waning
First-
Empire, and it's not like
the Imperial Remnant.
yeah, it's not the Imperial remnants, but it's like the Pikes and potentially maybe even Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson
question
Dawn,
mark?
maybe. Yes.
And
Timeline wise, that would make sense.
it would make sense.
Under new leadership.
Mhm.
Yes, which would be okay. So guys. So that you brought this up. Okay, so Kira, right?
Mhm.
Amelia
And
Clark.
please, by all means, tell me I'm an idiot and like tell me to
Oh, I
go
will.
f myself. But and you will. I'm sure you will. So, later on when Han leaves Leia to like go back to like smuggling and being
Yeah.
like a spooky guy, what
Yes.
if he also goes back to his old flame?
I don't know. Is there anything in the I don't know if there's anything in like the comics about that or
I don't either. I don't think there is, but
I don't think
I don't
they're
know if
going
the comics
to
have
DH
like lined up
Harrison
at that
Ford.
timeline yet, though.
You don't think they're going to DH Harrison Ford?
No.
Oh no, they would never do that.
But I don't think they'd go back to Alden Ehrenreich because he'd be too young.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I don't think.
It would have to be like a brand new actor, maybe, or something.
I
and it
just
would be
don't
weird.
think Han's going to be involved simply for that fact.
Yeah,
But
it
also
just
then-
from the
becomes
point
real
you've made.
tricky.
Yeah, you're right, because it's so hard because they could use Kira, but they won't use Han.
Right.
Yeah, which that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it would only work
don't
if they did like a Crimson Dawn like later, you know,
Like-
like
And again, I haven't read all of the comic books that deal with like Han and Leia and the troubles they have raising Ben.
Oh, are there comics already about that? I didn't.
Some of that exists already.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
But
I'm
I
behind
don't
the
think
times.
I don't think Han cheats on Leia. I think they
Yeah,
grow
I hope
apart
not.
because of what's happening with Ben. It's not because Han's unfaithful. I think it was just like, I'm not cut out to be a dad. This
This is really complicated.
I got to go back to
Yeah.
smuggling. That's
Yeah.
all I know. I think it's that simple.
Yeah, I think you're probably right too.
But
It just
Kira,
dawned on me because it would be like it dawned on me that they may or may not exist in the universe still together, and it's just like having them never meet back up again would be just like after
yeah.
the film that we had. It just feels weird, but
Yeah.
I guess that's the way the universe works sometimes.
But Kira, I mean, we've talked about it already a bit. That
She could absolutely show up.
yes,
Mhm.
Yeah,
yes.
which would be cool.
It's times like these I wish they didn't kill Darth Maul, even though like his
know.
final
Sure.
death was like perfect,
Yeah.
Just so beautiful.
and how and when and where it happened.
So beautiful.
But I would really love to see him
It would be neat. Yeah.
hanging out. But
Well.
well.
You know what also I realized while watching the show, and I was like, oh my God, why did I not think of this? But like, again, a lot of the threading the needle with Mando in this show, that we saw the stormtroopers' heads on the
On the spikes.
the spikes, which now we're kind of getting a little bit of world building that it might be something that was done by the Pikes, potentially. But then I'm thinking in my head, I was like, oh my God, Pikes. Their heads were on Pikes. I didn't put two to two together. But like, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Maybe
That's their signature.
That's their signature thing. They
I mean, I
like,
think more than anything, that was just an illustration of time.
yes.
You've seen this before.
Yes, right. And also,
You know where we
Amy
are.
Sedaris' character was
Yes.
there,
Mhm.
walking
Yes.
in the background with her
With the
droids.
pit droids, yeah.
So it was literally the same day, basically, as that.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Could have been. It was.
so-
also, do you guys? I'm sorry, I'm jumping around like crazy, but do you guys think that that all the Tusken Raiders are dead, like in
No.
that family?
That tribe is dead. But I think
Well-
the Tusken Raiders are
But
a
even in that tribe, do we feel like that entire tribe got massacred?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I mean,
I think they did.
I think so.
I really hope not, but I mean, it's probable. Yes, the only thing, because I've said this so many times on this show, but nobody, no death, because we haven't seen the youngest ones. We did see the stick.
I don't
That
think they
being-
would have shown us that because
Well,
you don't get they're not going to.
but you know
show
who we
dead
didn't see
kids.
either. We didn't see the warrior, I think, lady
Right.
Tusken that was like helping him like learn how to spar. And we didn't see that body. We didn't see, and yeah, I don't know. It just,
I mean, they totally could be. I think I would lean more towards they're all dead, just because.
yeah,
It gave you the emotional impact that Tamara Morrison got to
oh yeah,
really play up. That was
Yeah.
Very
And like
dark
the,
and really
the
beat
group,
up.
like, funeral that he held for them and lit
that
them
must
on
have been
fire
so
and
much
everything.
work having to gather all those bodies by himself.
And there was some interesting commentary on that scene, and we've talked a little bit about how, once again, not a one-for-one comparison, but if Tusken Raiders could be seen in the same light as, say, Native Americans.
Sure.
In their attachment to nature, in their tribal structure. It troubled some people that they ended up, at least this tribe, wiped out, because this was a chance to kind of bring that culture into Star Wars for maybe the first time, or shed light on it for the first time. And it ended the same way as their real life counterparts.
Yeah.
And that set some people off, which that made sense
That's
to me.
fair.
It did not occur to me, but
Yeah.
I could see it. Like it's tough to watch just from a Star Wars standpoint. Just like,
Also, I wonder, do you think they probably don't call themselves Tusken Raiders, right? Like, do you
No,
think they
and
just call themselves
they-
Tuskens?
The Sand People. That's like another thing that
I
Boba has
think
called them.
they've been called that. I don't think they call each other the Sand People. Like, I
Yeah,
think
they call
I
themselves.
think that's like calling it Sand People is like calling a Native American an Indian. You know, I think
Right.
I think that's
Potentially.
potentially.
Yeah, I don't
don't-
know. And we didn't. I mean, they didn't go so far as to like give us actual names of these tribes.
Not yet. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe we will get that information.
Could be.
I do hope that if Boba is assembling a ragtag group,
A ragtag band.
that another tribe of Tuskens will be part of the gang that he.
I
seeks
do
them out.
believe, because we're like headed to what it sounds like. I mean, they keep on foreshadowing like this war that is gonna happen. Like we're going to war with Pikes. And obviously he's getting the help of like the families, the different factions in which is another world building thing. So after Boba passed away, and after Bib Fortuna passed away.
You mean Jabba? You said
After
Boba.
Jabba.
Oh,
Jabba.
sorry, Jabba.
Yeah,
not
Jabba,
Boba.
then
Oh my
Bib
God.
Fortuna. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And the sort of like Tatooine was split up over the different families and factions.
Yeah, the Trandoshans, the Aqualish, and the Klatooinians. I think that's
Yeah, that
the
sounds
three
right.
races.
Yes, and so he's now enlisting the help of all of them with the Pikes.
But they've said they're staying neutral.
Right,
Yeah.
you're exactly right. So he's going to need help. And so obviously he's going to look for Mando, but I'm wondering if he also gets help from the Tusken.
The Tuskens.
Well,
The Tuskens,
so
yeah.
Mando or Mandos,
Mandos.
Mm-hmm.
depending on what that theme was alluding to, the Tuskens. I have to think he's going to call on some bounty hunters.
That would be
Like
sick.
he's going to call up Bosk. He's going to
Oh,
call up
man.
Dengar. He's going to call up IG-88.
Oh,
He's going to call up the whole gang.
That'd
be great.
That would be definitely another
And
check off
that would be
the
going
nerd
check,
list.
check,
Yes.
check.
Yes. Also, another something that was added to my nerd list by watching this show that I didn't know that I needed, but I really, really want now, and they have me salivating, and it's their own fault for setting up this. But talking about the witches of Dathomir riding Rancors.
Yeah, Boba's going to be riding a Rancor in
Oh,
the fight
baby.
against the Pikes.
Oh, baby.
In what world did we ever imagine that to be a
Oh
thing?
my God! So yes, that is going to be amazing because we are getting that. But also, I want to see the witches of Dathomir. Like that's just.
I mean, they're dead, but
well,
I mean, they were exterminated.
well,
They're spoken of as legend.
well. Yeah, this is maybe a spoiler alert for people who haven't played the game, but there's there is a thread where maybe they're not all dead. Like,
Well, there's that one,
right.
but we go to Dathomir, and none of them are there. They're
right.
all zombies.
There's no more witches of Dathomir, but there
But
might
maybe
be
other
witches.
witches.
Yeah, more
Witches.
spooky witches.
More Star Wars witches,
The
please.
witches of Endor. Oh my God, it's a bunch. It's a bunch of. Oh God.
I don't know if Boba's going to call them the supernatural necessarily. Like, I don't know if that'll be an
No,
element.
probably
of
not
it.
in this show, but maybe something else.
Yeah, no, definitely not this show. There was talk about there's like a prequel to the prequel show that's coming out. I can't remember what it's called, but they're like
Wait,
it
a
could be in there.
prequel to the prequel show?
Yeah, like it's potentially going to take place before the prequels.
Oh, the High Republic show? The
Yeah,
Acolyte? Yeah,
Yes, Acolyte. Yeah, like
Yeah,
maybe we could see something in there.
sure.
Could
What's
be.
going
And-
on with that? Was that one of the shows that has been put on pause?
Oh, I don't
think
know.
I think that is still alive.
I think it's
Okay.
still alive. I haven't heard of it being.
I
paused,
think
but-
most of the shows are okay. It was the movies that are getting kind of
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're busy. They're really leaning
They've got
super hard into
they've
the
got
Disney
plenty
Plus
to
stuff.
do.
They're focusing
Yeah.
on the Disney Plus stuff right now, which I think is smart. So.
Yeah, for the time being.
Mhm.
Well, speaking, we mentioned it at the top in very graphic and unfortunate detail, but Boba Fett getting assaulted by Black Chrysanthemum,
Oh my God,
like that was
That was
brutal.
scary.
he's scary.
That's a scary Wookiee.
Oh my goodness.
I don't like that guy.
Oh,
I
but
mean,
then
that-
he ends up being nice.
Well,
Really?
Yeah, you're not really.
well, yeah,
He
you then have
killed a bunch
the
of
scene
people in the cantina.
in episode 4 when he has the
do you mean?
he just ripped
Trandoshan.
off their arm.
do you
It wouldn't
mean
be
he's
Star
nice?
Wars
Yeah,
if he
all
did
the
never rip off
Trandoshans.
arm.
And I love that
Oh,
huge
gosh.
speech she gives saying,
Oh,
you know,
same.
You are a
you know,
warrior,
you are such
decorated.
you decorated warrior. That career's
champion.
over. Why waste your time with someone
Just
like
stroking
this?
his
And
ego.
he's considering it and then rips his arm off. And
And then she
Everyone's
just
like,
rolls her eyes.
She's like, oh. And Boba's like, well, yeah, it was a good effort.
Yeah, at least
but
he
some
tried.
context. That was a Trandoshan he was choking, and if you're familiar with
Right.
Star Wars expanded stories, the Trandoshans are basically Wookiee slavers. So
He's not a
we
fan.
don't feel terrible for that happening.
He might be a Trandoshan or a bunch of them might be the reason why he got put into the
Right.
the
He-
pits in the first place.
Right. He's a gladiator.
Probably.
A gladiator pit, yeah.
But Black Chrysanthemum is absolutely Team Boba now.
Yeah, he
Um,
he definitely recruited him at the end there. Hey,
I'm
mate,
looking forward to
looks
that.
like you need a job.
Yeah.
Get over here, you scary guy. Remember you choked me when I was all lubed up.
Don't work for Skug Holes.
Help me lube me up.
Good thing I'm done with the back to tank, or else you'd be sliding me all around lubed up.
What is this show about? I'm so confused.
I watched another clip of another Star Wars podcast, and I wish that I could give them credit right now. But one of the girls hosting was like, "See, this is why we need actual gay things to happen in Star Wars, or else we wouldn't just be reaching for
Making
things that
them up.
aren't even really gay."
Yes, correct.
And I was like, "Yes, exactly
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much."
Give us gay Star Wars, please.
And not a
This is not-
background peck kiss, you frickin'
No.
idiots.
Harumph.
All right.
This is not remotely related, but episode 3 brought one of my favorite actors currently working into Star Wars, Stephen Root.
Oh my god, I love him.
Yes, he is in
from
frickin' everything.
Office Space fame,
Yes.
but that guy, he's played
I want my stapler, please.
what I think of him most as in recent times is he plays the man in the high castle on The Man in the High Castle.
Oh shit, I need to still watch that show. Oh my god. It's on my
but
list.
he's killing it. He's
working
in
a lot.
Everything. This is a guy who after
Oh, he's a brilliant character actor.
45,
He's so
50
good.
years old, like took off. So
Still doing it.
yeah, and he's a wonderful addition, and I like seeing that side of Boba where he's having to navigate. So Stephen Root's character is kind of being an ass, and it's like nobody respects you, and so Boba kind of has to go take it upon himself to lay down the law, and then ends up putting him in his place. It's like, you're going to cut your prices. I grew up on a planet of water. Why are you commoditizing water? This is stupid.
Yep.
But I already like Boba's negotiating tactics, and he doesn't have to do a lot to convince people to do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hires the band of people that was causing him trouble.
Yes,
Yeah.
the kiddos.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Rent.
Bunch of. I mean, truthfully, I could absolutely see them in a musical. And
There is no work, mighty daimyo, and I'm not going to pay the rent.
It was just. It felt. I think I said this to you both when we were watching it, but it felt like that episode of Stranger Things in the
Yes. we
third
did talk
season
about
where they
this.
introduced Eleven's sister and like her band of Suicide Squad-esque people.
And you were, I would be so. And yeah, it
And they
looked like
they
they were building
obviously
up to another
all
spin-off show.
Yeah, they obviously wanted everyone to be like, "Oh yeah, more of them," but everyone was like, "Boo,
Why
get
would
back
you
to
do
the
that?
old story.
Yeah, it makes 11 not special anymore.
We don't like them."
don't do that.
And then
You're
they were
ruining my life.
like, "Sorry that she's been out of this whole entire season. Now she's in the last episode. Here you go." Or season
yes,
2.
I
I think
agree.
it's season 2. Yeah, not season 3.
Oh, is that
Yes,
right? Oh wow.
it's right,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I just did a rewatch, so I know.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you're very well versed.
Other little tidbits from episode 4. I enjoyed the chef droid who
Yes, and
then
the sous
turned into-
chef. And the
who
sous
then,
chef.
who then turned into General Grievous with
Honestly,
his
yeah. Oh my god,
knives.
so great. That was such a clear nod. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up because, and just in general, like I was very pleased with how much puppetry they used with,
Yes.
like with this whole show in general. But like, yeah, like the what do you call him? The Bantha puppet is so freaking cool, which apparently is like run by 4 different people.
Well,
Oh,
and
it's awesome.
Bantha's, if you didn't know this, if you're listening or watching, the Bantha was originally an elephant
right.
that was put into a costume, basically.
Yeah, right.
And they would hide its trunk under hair and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Under the
So
beard. Like that's why
you
the
never
beard
actually
exists.
you never actually see the mouth move, but
Right.
But as you said, Daniel, like their use of puppetry here is
Just so
brings
great.
a whole new level of dynamic behavior.
But in that scene in particular, like the droid puppetry was just so fun to like. I mean, like obviously there's an element to me that like knows kind of how things work. So, you know, by having done puppetry, so that like adds an extra element of like interest for me. Like, ooh, that's like
Sure.
such cool magic that they're doing. But I just think there was just really fun storytelling. It was very cute and like the little one that looks kind of like I don't even know what, like a bunny eared,
Yeah,
like
I don't.
Oh,
long necked.
the rat catcher one that came in after.
Yeah, like the little small one that's running around and like got like so freaked out that he turned himself off.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the whole that whole thing was very, very adorable. Yeah.
Yes.
And they did a great job. I'm so glad they're using more puppetry. It's cool.
Yeah, and the cinematography is really terrific on this show.
Yeah.
And there was a shot in episode
Minus that
4,
one mistake, but you know, everybody makes mistakes.
right, when he's out in the desert, camped outside of Jabba's palace with the Bantha, and you go from day to night.
Yeah, that was a
There's
cool
that-
shot. Mm-hmm.
That wipe up shot where you see the 3 moons of Tatooine, which have always existed, but I don't believe we ever got to see them.
Oh yeah, the moons. Yes,
Mhm.
that
So
was
there's-
so
Tatooine
freaking
has
beautiful.
2 suns and 3 moons. And,
Yeah.
that
Very
was
cool.
Yeah, really beautiful shot. And then I mentioned the Mad Max shot
Yes.
of Boba mowing those guys down. That was a great shot.
Boba mowing.
And the fact that most of this is being done with the volume soundstage
Right.
is nuts. Like it's already gotten better.
Yeah.
Oh,
Truly.
yeah. Every show that they, use it for, it gets better and better each show.
I mean, truthfully, I literally had forgotten that until you just mentioned it now. Like
Yeah.
it hadn't even crossed my mind, and
Mhm.
like, and that's such a great testament to how good it is because I have never thought about it once. This
Well,
entire
and they're
time.
shooting so many of these scenes in the volume, but also in parking lots just down the street from you, Daniel.
right,
Like,
right.
and Alyssa, it's like in a parking lot somewhere in Orange County.
Yeah, or Irvine or something, right?
Yeah. So they've gotten really good at it, and it's expensive technology, but I'm thinking of how much money it's going to save productions on actually going places because they've
Probably.
made convincing landscapes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm actively looking. Like, I wonder if where the seams are in
Yeah.
this tapestry.
It's
and
really hard to see.
they are hard to
It's hard
spot.
to see. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there's people out there that are like, like spotting those little moments where you see behind the set pieces and stuff like that, I mean, obviously, I guess those are probably a little more obvious, maybe, but people are being super analytical about the show, and it's just never come up. People don't be like, oh, we saw like it didn't sync up right the way that the background moved with the people or something. That's just
No,
never happened, at least not yet.
And they've had a lot of those pan out shots, particularly
Yeah.
of the desert.
Mhm.
I'm like, you wouldn't show that off if you weren't confident that it looked damn real, and it
Yeah.
does.
It does.
Um,
It looks fantastic.
And what I love so much about this series in particular is because we've returned to an iconic location like around Jabba's palace, and we're seeing a lot more of it that we've never seen before. But the
Mhm.
stuff that we had seen before looks the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not shooting on those sets, so
Nope.
they had to pay painstakingly recreate.
Mm-hmm.
And also painfully. Yeah.
Yeah, and painfully, like just even the entrance door, the big giant door that goes up in
Right.
Jabba's
Yeah.
palace, like that all, you immediately calls back to Return of the Jedi, and it looks pristine
cool.
and exactly the same, and it's really cool.
I like that we got to see sort of the mechanics behind how that door works too,
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
the little thing. Yeah.
And then a more dynamic Sarlacc this time around.
Yeah.
with a lot better animation than the special edition, which added the beak, famously added
Yeah.
the giant centerpiece. But
Mhm.
it looked so much better this time.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Yeah. There's no lack of beautiful things to look at. And,
God, you know what? You just made me think about something. So, like, because they already kind of messed with the original version of the films,
mhm.
you know, so, I mean, I'm not saying that they're not sacred anymore, but, like, do you think that they would update them again at some point?
I don't think so. I mean, if anything, there's been a call to restore them to.
I think that would be so cool if they did that. I know that there's, like, a lot of footage that's missing, maybe. Did I hear that right?
Well,
Like some of the
the
original...
problem they've encountered is finding the original prints, because George
Yeah.
Lucas did take original prints and modified those.
Right. Whoops!
Oops-a-days.
But there is allegedly
Another copy.
somewhere.
There's gotta
um,
be, right?
And it's worth $1 bajillion.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there, you
Give
just
it to
go to our Instagram.
Just shoot us a DM, real private.
We won't
Real
tell
discreet.
anybody.
I won't tell anybody,
Yeah, it's all right. You could just ship it to us.
and we'll release it.
You can trust
Yeah.
us. Have we made a musical reference yet?
Stuck.
Well,
we did before we started
before we
recording.
started. We said,
A
a
blessing,
blessing
on
on your house, Boba Fett, Boba Fett.
We did do that. We did do
Which
that.
I really like.
I'm messing up. Boba Fett, Boba Fett.
Bounty hunter on the roof.
Yeah, it's good. It fits with the show, I think, somehow. Because it's
Hey!
about family and tradition and
If I were a
Sure.
rich man, you could probably just
a
substitute.
tribe
just
of
put that in.
people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Boba Fett, Boba Fett.
Well,
So
do you
we've
have
got
any-
a war with the
that's-
Pikes.
A war is a
Ahead.
coming. A war
yeah.
is coming.
We've done a lot
I'm
of talking
very
about it.
excited.
I'd like to see a lot of doing something about it now.
Yeah, let's do it. How many
I'm
more
thinking-
episodes do we have? 2?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that
3?
too.
The?
At least 2, but 3. Because this is episode 4.
This was
And we get
4.
6, right? So 2.
I think 6, right?
Is it only 6 or is it 7?
I don't know.
It is 7. There are
Okay.
7. So
3
we have
more.
Okay,
more.
We
3
get 3 more.
more.
I think Manda's coming next episode, bitches, and I'm very excited about it.
Just give me Mando. This is just re-going over our checklist of
Yep. Mando.
nerdgasms.
Cad
Give it-
Bane.
Oh, I forgot about Cad Bane.
We're,
Yeah.
we're
Never
probably
will.
we're probably gonna get a flashback to when they meet up in that Mando episode.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think so we
predict-
may even see Grogu at least again for like a brief
That
moment.
that would be such a. Lucasfilm would know what it was doing if it did that, and
Yeah.
it would be total fat. That's it.
And
It
I
would
want
just be
it.
like-
I would
I
want
know.
it.
I know it would be treacherous.
It would, yeah, but no, it would be if they. I mean, they've been threading the needle so far, like, and we've even had a scene with Boba, like, you know, finding Fennec,
Right.
like so. Yeah, if they're gonna continue to thread the needle, it would make sense for them to show
But
the 2 of them
one
together.
thing that there's no more flashbacks in the back to tank.
He is done with the back.
He's
to
done
tank.
with the back to tank.
You're
so
not
that's
wrong there.
something
That
to
is
just
interesting.
have in your back pocket.
Which actually
Unless he has
kind
to
of
go back in for some reason.
which kind of
Oh no,
pours
Black
water.
Kazakhstan comes back.
Chrysantan. Chrysantan. None of us.
Chrysanthemum?
I wrote it
Chrysanthemum.
down phonetically
chrysanthemum.
because it's idiotic.
His name is
Chris
Chris.
An-
Chrysantan.
Chris Anton.
Chris Anton?
Yes, that's what it is. Chris Anton.
Oh, okay.
Chrysanthemum.
Black chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum.
I'm calling him chrysanthemum.
I'm
But
probably still
actually,
going to call him Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan.
Kyrgyzstan, which is actually a place.
It is an actual place. We have
But
a lot of
that
listeners
actually,
there.
Alyssa, that that does kind of throw water on my prediction. Him leaving the Bacta tank and being done. I was keeping a prediction in my back pocket that we would see Jango at some point in a
in a flashback.
Tamara Morrison as Jango.
Very
in
interesting.
a flashback, but
Well, maybe
perhaps
they'll
not.
find some other device, or
Well, he did say though
he'll get the
'cause
Shiza beaten out of him, and he will have to go back in there.
Or
that
he'll
would be a
need like
very
an
easy way to do
EpiPen
it.
or something, and then he'll have like an EpiPen, or he'll have like an inhaler or something. And,
Sure.
and
but
then
he
he'll
did
see.
say that when he got out of the Bacta tank for the last time, Fennec was like, or is it? I think the
What about
computer said,
the
like,
scars on the
"Congratulations,
Yeah, what about the
you're-
scars on the
you're-
inside?
Yeah, that.
Mhm.
And
Well,
it's
that's
just like, those take a
metaphorical.
lot more time or something. So I don't think Bacta tanks can
It can't.
help.
I think that
with
was a
that?
metaphor. That's what we call metaphor.
Yeah, but I do think that was part of the reason why he was in there, because it was like a moment for him to sort of
Yes.
like, be with his thoughts, which is like kind of what people do, like
the sensory deprivation float tanks.
Yeah,
You
the
took it
float
right out of my
tanks.
mind. Yes, exactly that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just watched a YouTube video of a guy who voluntarily went into solitary confinement for 3 days to chart what it does to you mentally. And to
God.
prepare for it, he was hanging out with Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings, who I guess runs a clinic for float tanks.
Get out!
I think.
I
'cause
want to
he
go
was-
to his tank.
Because he was the guy there demonstrating it for him. And anyway,
I want to go to Dominic Monaghan's think tank, whatever the hell it's called.
anyway, the float tank is nothing like solitary confinement. It's quite good for you. As
Right.
opposed
Yeah,
to
that's what they
solitary
all
confinement,
say.
which is not.
Well, and also you're only in there for like maybe an hour, as opposed
Maybe.
to like several days.
Oh,
24/7.
and this guy, this guy, I won't waste time with this, but he went into solitary confinement in this
And now
little
he's
white
dead.
room with a bed and everything, and they have a video camera, and he's talking to us the whole time, and the doctors are outside watching him, and when he starts talking about what time he thinks it is,
Oh.
he gets
yikes.
off by almost 24 hours.
Sure.
Whoa.
And so when he expects to be let out, he has almost a whole day left.
Ew, I hate
And
that.
he starts to deteriorate quickly.
Oh man.
Well, also, sir,
That gave me
that
anxiety
is a
just thinking about that.
stupid idea that you had.
It
so
is.
I don't feel sorry for you, you idiot.
Yeah,
His
you're not
hypothesis
wrong.
was proven correct.
No, why would you?
that
You don't.
isolation
I can tell
is
you,
horrible.
We can all tell you that without having to put ourselves in
You
solitary
did this
confinement.
to yourself.
I know, when we were all trapped in our relatively nice apartments at
Yeah,
the beginning
remember
of the
that?
pandemic, thinking the
Yeah,
world
that was
ended.
the thing.
And we're still all dealing with that. Remember that?
Yeah, remember that PTSD?
Trauma.
Anytime I'm alone, I hear ghosts in the walls.
Uh-oh.
Oh wait, there it is. Oh God, you're in Secret Garden. There's a Secret Garden quote in there somewhere. I don't know.
No, I don't. That
They're
would
not
be-
gone, you see. They're just dead.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. That's the other musical quote. Good.
Is my Aunt Lily a ghost now? Go back to bed.
Go back to bed. Get back
I
in
can
your hole.
hallucinate on my own.
Well,
My God.
any
All
other
right.
thoughts and feelings about?
I heard someone crying.
Great.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
it was Boba.
Boba. Ew, I hate it. And I love it all the same.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right, great. Well, that was episodes 3 and 4 of
It was.
the Book of Boba Fett / Power
No.
Rangers
Right.
/ Boba Fett and the Black Bear.
Black
Get it on.
Kyrgyzstan. Black Kazakhstan.
Black Kissusaki. Thanks so much for listening or watching
much.
or both. Maybe the video worked. We don't know. This is Inside the Tauntaun, a podcast in the multiverse of fandom. I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino Nicandros.
May the force be with you.
Always.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.